Hey, welcome back to Mocktails with Marina. I'm your host, Marina, and today I'm just going to give you a quick little pocket-sized, bite-sized episode. I want to talk to y'all about kratom. I know this is not going to make me the most popular person in the non-alc space, but I think that this is a very important episode that we need to have, and a really quick, testimony, case study to what is kratom, right? There are a lot of people in the space who aren't quite sure what this is. They're not sure how to approach it. I personally have worked at a kava bar where I have served thousands of people kratom over the course of years. So a lot of what I want to talk about today boils down to, number one, what I think of kratom. Number two, where I think it has an appropriate place in the non-alc industry, and of course where it is inappropriate to be having kratom. And also I just want to mention, there are a lot of polarizing opinions on this topic. This can be a very personal topic for a lot of people out there. There are some people who have had bad experiences. So all of this is to say I absolutely have the utmost respect for everyone's different stances, understandings, experiences with kratom and kava and anything else I ever talk about. So none of what I say negates your experience, but it is important that, as a professional, as a consultant, as an educator in this industry, and someone who has a lot of experience in both consuming it and serving it, I think that there's really important conversations that need to be had. So with that, I will begin this pocket-sized episode on kratom. Now, let's talk context. Kratom is derived from a tropical evergreen tree native to Southeast Asia. It has been traditionally used in native cultures for hundreds of years as a stimulant, as a mood booster, a pain reliever. It contains compounds like mitragynine and 7-hydroxymitragynine. Sorry, that one's a very big mouthful. I never pronounce it perfectly, so you can go ahead and look at the description to get the official spelling of these compounds so you can look more deeply into them. But basically, both of these compounds act a little bit differently, and just like with cannabis, you've got THC and CBD, you've got these different components that when put into something that you're consuming, the different levels of each component is going to wildly change the experience that you're having based on how much you consume, both ratio-wise and also overall dosage. And these different compounds, they interact with the brain's opioid receptors. It's not that they're opiates in the same way that we see heroin, morphine, right? It's a little bit different, but it does respond to those same receptors. So what I'm trying to say is this is why it's often used as an alternative for managing pain or any sort of opioid withdrawal, because it does help ease that itch, so to speak. But unlike opioids, it does not carry the same level of risk for respiratory depression, which is why some people turn to it for relief. This is a big deal. This is a very big difference, especially for people who are navigating the challenges of addiction or dealing with chronic pain. For many former addicts, the story goes like this. They can't access traditional pain management because of their past struggles with opioids. Now, doctors, out of an understandable concern for relapse, avoid prescribing even the most basic pain meds. So where does that leave these people? They just end up back on the street with it, right? Many times kratom is the only thing that works for them and keeps them from going to the black market. Similarly, I've met people with fibromyalgia, Lyme disease, and other chronic conditions who have tried countless of medications, but kratom seems to be the only thing that helps them find relief. These are real people who have tried everything else and are simply seeking a way to manage their pain without being pulled into dangerous cycles of dependence. Now, on the flip side, I'm not blind to the risks. There are real concerns about kratom use, especially when people don't use it responsibly or when they misuse it. I've heard the stories, the bad reactions, the dependency issues, and even some legal trouble in certain states. But what I want to stress is that the majority of these issues arise from a lack of education and understanding about how to use kratom safely. The reality is kratom needs to be respected and used with intention. It is not a free-for-all. Now, let's talk about proper dosing for a second. In the world of kratom, serving sizes matter. Too much can lead to incredibly unpleasant side effects, nausea, dizziness, irritability, or worse. And yes, if you're using this every day and you're not being conscious of having on days and off days, you're not aware of the addictive cycles, this can be an addictive compound, an addictive botanical. But the right amount, used in the right way, can often offer relief without sending someone into a negative experience. The problem is most people just don't know how to dose it properly. They don't understand the difference between a small dose, which acts as a stimulant, and a larger dose, which acts more like a sedative. This is where kava bar culture comes into play. When you come from a space like kava bars, there's an emphasis on ritual, community, and education. You learn to respect the plants, to serve them properly, and to educate the people around you. That is the same approach we need to take with kratom. Now, all of this being said, unfortunately, kratom is a very popular smoke shop item. And the moment we start talking about smoke shops, that's where things can change flavor, so to speak. So smoke shops frequently treat kratom like other recreational products, which means they're failing to provide customers with vital information about its unique properties. And that includes everything from dosage guidelines to effects at different levels and all the potential risks. Without proper context, these customers might misuse kratom, leading to negative experiences and perpetuating misconceptions about the plant. The thing about smoke shop culture is it's very different from many of the non-alc spaces that I personally operate in and all the people who are clients, all of the spaces they operate in, right? So we don't want to be like smoke shops. We want to move forward. So what I'm trying to say here, let's look at an example. In irresponsible kava bars, because not all kava bars are made the same. Kratom is similarly misrepresented when bar owners or staff don't take the time to educate patrons about its correct usage. These kava bars may serve kratom alongside kava or other botanicals without offering any proper guidance on dosage, effects, and the importance of moderation. This lack of education not only undermines kratom's potential benefits, but also contributes to the misuse, dependency, or unwanted side effects. Responsible kava bars prioritize customer education, ensuring that people understand what they're consuming and how to do so safely, which can prevent the spread of misinformation and help build a more positive reputation for kratom. Look, the internet is littered with a lot of bad information right now because there's a lot of bad experiences based on the lack of education that has gone into this product. Anything in overusage can be bad for you. But if we are completely negating all of the positive things that kratom can have just because a few people misrepresented and misused it, that shouldn't put everybody else in this situation where no one can have access to it. I mention all this because I have seen, I see posts pop up here and there from people who are not professionals in this industry based on something that they saw because it's in an adjacent non-alc space. And I understand and can respect and appreciate and even admire to a certain extent the fact that, hey, you're just trying to look out for your people. But there's also a lot of propaganda out there because this is such an effective product. This is such an effective botanical when used effectively to the point where, of course, Big Pharma isn't going to like it. So I'm not saying that everything on the online forums out there are, Big Pharma in disguise. I'm not saying that. There are people out there who have had bad experiences, as I've been pointing out throughout this episode. But what's really important to know is that there are private parties who are looking out for Big Pharma and their interests, and kratom is not one of their interests. In fact, there are many documented cases of studies being done where, we are seeing positive effects, but yet the results become muffled. And there are certain laws that don't end up making it, aren't created with the amount of thought and scientific evidence that's supposed to be used, all out of lobbied interest by Big Pharma. So just remember that and keep that in mind when you're doing your own research on the internet. I digress. So let's just get back to the non-alc space in general. So the non-alc space, especially within the framework of kava bars, has always been about providing alternatives, right? Alternatives to alcohol, alternatives to destructive behavior, and alternatives to harmful coping mechanisms. As I wrote in my recent article for Lalo, which you can see in the description of this episode, kava bars have played a significant role in shaping the non-alc movement, offering a place for people to connect, unwind, and enjoy plant-based beverages that don't come with the dangers of intoxication, right? Kava, like kratom, has had its own set of nuances, and we've managed to build a community that understands the importance of safe use. We absolutely can do the same with kratom. The reason I'm so pro-kratom, but also pro-safe use, stems from this idea of harm reduction and informed choice. Look, people are going to look for alternatives to traditional medicine, whether it's due to chronic pain, addiction recovery, or simply a desire to avoid prescription drugs. We can't stop that. What we can do is provide them with the tools and the knowledge to use these alternatives in a way that doesn't cause harm. Blanket statements like kratom is bad or kratom is dangerous completely misses the nuance of the conversation. Sure, if it's misused, it can cause problems. It can be addictive. But when you use it correctly, it can literally be life-saving. I am not here to say kratom is for everyone. I'm not. Because it is absolutely not for everyone. But I have served thousands of people at the kava bar who have positive experiences with it. But that doesn't mean it's the right choice for every single individual. What I am advocating for is a more thoughtful approach. Understand what you're taking, know the risks, respect the plant, and most importantly, educate yourself on proper dosages and safe usage. These are things that we as a community need to be talking about. Yes, the general non-alc space, not just kava bars, kava communities, smoke shops, but everyone. Now, before I wrap this up, I do need to make a few disclaimers. I am not a doctor, I am not a lawyer, and this is not medical advice. Everything I'm sharing is based on personal experience and testimonials from people I've met throughout my years in the kava and kratom space. I encourage anyone to think about trying kratom to do their own research, consult with healthcare professionals, and understand the legal landscape. The FDA does have its concerns about kratom, but they're also learning a lot more about where it's very positive. And I think that regulation can absolutely be a positive thing, especially when it comes to ensuring product safety. Because let's be honest, there are parts of the kratom industry that, for lack of better word and context, just kind of suck when it comes to the manufacturing at the highest quality. So we do need to be more vigilant as consumers, ensuring that we are ingesting the proper brands. But this conversation is ongoing, right? And there are groups out there that are actively working on this. You can learn a lot through the American Kratom Association. They are not only always posting what they know, gaining testimonials, but they're also actively in each state and at the federal level trying to do what they can legally in order to protect kratom, but also protect the consumer at the same time. At the end of the day, the important thing is to just stay informed and make choices that are right for your individual health journey. So, at the end of the day, kratom does have its place. It can be a powerful tool for those who need it, but it is not a magic bullet. The key is safe, informed use, and as a community, we need to foster conversations that are nuanced and grounded in education, not fear tactics, not scare people into something that could literally be the thing that helps save their life. We've seen the impact kratom can have on people's lives, both good and bad, and it's up to us to be responsible advocates for its proper use. Let's leave the fear-mongering and blanket statements behind and instead engage in conversations that truly help people find what works for them. Now, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, stories, anything at all that comes from this episode, please feel free to reach out to me. Do not be shy. Send me an email, hello@marinamars.com. Let's chat about it. And hey, the more we chat, even if we don't agree, even if we don't see eye to eye, or maybe we do see eye to eye, and we do agree on certain things, but we have different experiences. I think these conversations are very important. And I don't want you to sit there potentially listening to this episode feeling conflicted in any way and unresolved, because again, the way forward, the way to find that resolution is through conversation, community and connection. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you so much. And I want you to leave with one final thought. Now, this is for the dreamers out there. If there's anyone out there who is interested in entering the non-alc space or is in the non-alc space from an entrepreneurial perspective, but any of these kinds of topics make you feel a little gun shy, a little worried, a little anxious, and that's the kind of thing that holds you back from operating in this space, please definitely reach out to me, hello@marinamars.com, because not only can I help you get through some of these blockages, but I cannot stress enough, everybody in this industry is doing such important work in each of the communities that we come from. So like I mentioned, I've been behind bars. I've served thousands of people kratom in my lifetime, among many other botanicals. And I have, while yes, I've seen a few people get sick here and there when they didn't listen to my recommendations or they snuck a little extra serving without my consent, right? I have seen things turn sour. And I want you to know that your business doesn't need to be tied up in that scarcity or that anxiety of, oh my God, I want to serve these things, but I'm scared about the risks of doing so. Trust me when I say that there is a way for everything. I've personally seen it, done it, and helped many of my clients do the same. So just reach out. Don't be shy. These are important tools that need to get out into the community. And even if you're not pro kratom, that's fine. You don't have to be. You don't have to do that in your business. It's your business. But if there's anything else that you're trying to sell, there are a lot of hemp products out there that are still highly contested in certain states and areas. There's plenty of other botanicals that kind of ride funny little lines as well. I'm here to talk about all the fringe products, fringe botanicals. Everything is fringe until you understand a little bit more. Then it becomes crystal clear. Once it becomes crystal clear to you, it's kind of your job to pass it along, right? If it's something you love, if it's something that speaks to your heart, if it is your passion, if it is something you want to do to make this world a better place, don't waste your time or that love that you have in your heart, because you can make a very big difference. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. I appreciate you so much for listening. And as always, of course, if you need anything, just let me know.